I'm trying to get a good way to put the pictures up here so I don't cover up everything.
They were recording.
Yeah, hi everybody. Welcome, welcome. For now, it would be great. I think your audio is on. Oh, hi Sharon. Good to see you. Look how beautiful you look tonight. So yeah, let's try to keep our mics off for now. And if you have questions, I think you can just write them in the chat. But I'm also very amenable to just having a talk with everybody because there's a lot to discuss, and it's just so awkward to do it through chat. So for now, just like write any questions into the chat. But if it gets to the point where we really should be having a dialogue, I'll just ask you to open up your mics and then we can just talk to each other. Okay. So welcome everybody. Some of you know me. My name is Robin Pollock. And yeah, so Bhavika, I think some people who have their mics open, if you could hit your mic, turn off your mics, that would be great. Okay. Sorry if I have to say that a few times, but all right. So I'm Robin Pollock. I am a homeopath here in Toronto. I'm originally from Montreal, so I'm Canadian through and through, a bit of French, bit of English. And I've been a homeopath. Well, I've been studying it since 2015. So I graduated about 2 years ago. And I have also a clinical psychology background in group psychotherapy and Gestalt psychotherapy as well. But I really found my home in homeopathy, and I ain't going nowhere. This is it. I absolutely love it. So I became a member of NASH when I was a student. And part of the reason for that was because already as a psychologist, I was seeing patients in my home, and I will be using the word patients. I think Myra, who is my colleague here on the NASH board, they're used to saying clients in the state, but in Canada, we're allowed to say patients. So that's what's going to come off my tongue. Seeing them kind of in isolation, not really having a lot of people to talk to. And then I switched over to a profession that not only can be in isolation if you're seeing them at your home again or something like that, but also the profession itself is kind of in isolation. Psychology is accepted, but homeopathy, not so much. So I really felt like I didn't want to experience that again in my career. I really wanted to have a group of friends, a group of colleagues, some camaraderie. And when I heard about NASH, I thought this might be a very good way to do it. So I became a student member. And another thing that I liked about NASH is that they had a bit more of an academic bent. My history is I've been in school like forever, and I have all sorts of degrees and all sorts of things that I've done. And I like the fact that they published a journal and that they encourage that kind of academic excellence. So there were lots of reasons why I chose NASH. And another one was because I wanted to apply for one of their scholarships that I'm going to talk about. And you had a better chance of winning it if you were a NASH member, and it wasn't very expensive. So I became a part of NASH, and I really, really, really enjoyed them. So a couple of years ago, I'd already graduated. I went to the Joint American Conference, and I bumped into Carlene Johnson, who's NASH's executive director. And I had a whole long talk with her. I ended up missing one of the sessions because we just ended up talking for so long. And I said, NASH is North America, but I don't feel like there's this huge Canadian presence. And she agreed with me. And, there's only we're all volunteers on the board, and there's only so much love that can go around. And I said, but I really see a value for Canadians for NASH. And being aware that I'm from Ontario and the fact that I can get, professional registration through my government, but the rest of Canada couldn't. And I said, maybe there's something in NASH that we can offer to our Canadian fellow homeopaths that might be of benefit to them, especially those who can't register. And so we had a long talk about it. And eventually she got back to me and she said, do you want to apply for the board? And I did. And I've been on the board for about a year now, and I wish I could have done more towards reaching out to all of you, but the pandemic hit, and we were just going crazy with learning how to take care of our patients with that. And now I'm starting to see kind of a light at the end of the tunnel. Things are getting a little bit better. And so I've decided to reach out to everybody and to let you just learn about NASH, what we offer, and maybe it's something that, could fit into your life as well. All right, so I'm going to start by giving you, instead of giving you like a page with all of the table of contents of what I'm going to do today, I happen to make a video for the joint conference that really will serve as my table of contents. So sit back, get some popcorn, watch the video. It's just a couple of minutes, and then we'll, as they say on NBC, I'll see you on the other side. And this always happens. It gets stuck. There was such a nice intro, and then I blew it. I'm trying to change the page. It's stuck. There we go. There we go. Go. So for anybody who came late, just to remind you that if you have any questions, please type them into the chat. And I also am not opposed to having an open mic and having some discussion. So please don't be afraid to do that. Myra is my illustrious companion on the board, and she might be piping in as well if she has more answers than I do about certain things, because she's been with NASH far longer than I have. So welcome to anybody who came in late. And let's get going. So just to give you a really super short history of NASH, just so you have a foundational understanding of the organization. It was founded in 1990 by Louis Klein. So a lot of people know him. He's a Canadian homeopath. And so NASH has been around for over 30 years, which is something that I really like about them, that they've been around for a long, long time. They have a lot of experience, and they've fought a lot of the battles that needed to be fought. So the goals of NASH were setting standards of competency, certifying homeopaths, advocating for legality of the profession, and developing recognition for homeopathy. So this is something that I learned and I thought was extremely interesting about NASH, which is that before NASH existed, professional homeopaths couldn't even gain entrance into most homeopathic seminars, and they weren't granted any role in the NCH, the National Center for Homeopathy. And so this was an upward battle that even though they were professional homeopaths, they couldn't even gain entrance into seminars, okay? And it took 13 13 years to get, I think of Hahnemann, right? How long did it take him that he had to fight, or he took 10 years to write the next edition of the organelle, like just this persistence. So with tenacity and strong principles, the NASH board of directors and members, acceptance became the norm. This is something that we all take for granted. We think that we can go to anything and it was just easy peasy, but it wasn't always the way. So one thing that I like about NASH, it has a long history of conferring legitimacy to homeopathic practitioners. And that's something that we may not appreciate today, but that's their history. All right, so certifying homeopaths eventually fell to the Council for Homeopathic Certification. So some of you might have the CCH. And so that job fell to them. So NASH instead put its focus on services and benefits for and legal protection of homeopathic practitioners. So CHC started conferring the CCH in about 1991 by giving a vigorous, or some say not so vigorous, test, an exam, and they were incorporated in 1992. So NASH then put its focus not on certifying, but on benefits and services for homeopaths. NASH partners with the Health Freedom Coalition. Now, this is focused in the States, and so it's not anything that really benefits us Canadians directly, but it shows commitment to assuring that practitioners are able to provide health services to people who want to be able to choose their own form of healthcare as a fundamental right of survival and personal sovereignty. I mean, those last lines I'm quoting from the Health Freedom Coalition. So I like the fact that they advocate for people to make their own choices for their healthcare needs, okay? NASH believes that high professional standards foster respect, acceptance, and excellence in clinical practice. And that was one of the main reasons that drew me to NASH, that I wanted to be involved with an organization that when people saw that I was a member of it, they understood immediately that I had legitimacy, that I had passed a high bar of competency, that I was bound by guidelines and rules that made sure that I adhered to high professional standards. So this is one of the things that I really, really like about NASH. So I'm going to just give you our mission statement so you see it clearly. NASH is dedicated to promoting, representing, and serving as the voice of all professional homeopaths in North America. NASH aims to develop and uphold the highest level of excellence in homeopathic practice while enhancing the role of the homeopathic profession as an integral part of healthcare delivery, right? So they make sure that if you get in, it's kind of an exclusive club. It's a hard club to get into, but if you've made it in, it shows that you have an excellent level of competency. And they want to make sure that we present our best face to media, to the world, to wherever needs advocacy is needed. All right, so there are 5 different kinds of membership types at NASH, and I'm going to go through all of them, okay? The highest one, the one that has the most benefits and has the most services associated with it is becoming a registered member. That's what I am. There's the associate member, and there's a few different ways of becoming one. Student, school, and there's something for provincial associations and the members in those provincial associations. So we're going to go through all of them. I'm going to go through registered with a fine-tooth comb, and I'm going to go through all the benefits. And then when I get to the other ones, it's going to go a lot faster because we've already covered what they mean. But if you have any questions at any point, please, please, please stop me and let me know.
Yeah, we do have some questions about becoming a registered member. So.
Okay, so let's go through the registered member section, which is my biggest section. And Myra, you let me know if any of those questions weren't answered, or you let Myra know, oh, she answered my question. And if not, we'll go through the ones that still remain. Okay, sound good? All right. So this is the premier type of membership, and it has the most benefits. And note also for anybody out there, everybody that I can see looks pretty young, but if you are a retired registered member, if you're a retired person, if you were a homeopath, but you want to keep your toes within the community, but you aren't practicing anymore, we do have something called a retired registered membership. Okay, so how do you become a registered member? What do you need to do? Okay, well, there's 3 different ways, all right? The first one is through NASH's competency review process, all right? Now, this is for somebody who has not registered with another organization that NASH accepts, and I'll go through those afterwards. But if you're just coming in, you've gone to school, you've gone to a good school, as you see, you need to be a high school graduate with an appropriate post-secondary education, including some courses in medical sciences and psychology. So you have to show a bit your transcript of what you've
Can you
done.
stop yelling, please?
I hope they're not saying that to me. Okay. Must have, oh my God, I got scared. You have to have at least 500 hours of training in classical homeopathy for a minimum of 2 years through recognized teachers or homeopathy institutions. And I like the fact that there's flexibility there, that not everybody can go to a school, but if you are getting mentorship from a recognized teacher or mentor, that might be good enough. You have to have verification of half or full-time practice of classical homeopathy for a minimum of 2 years. So you can't get in through this path until you've actually started working as a homeopath. Then you have to submit 10 cured cases with 6 months follow-up, which is your own original work. So it's not necessarily done through a mentor or a supervisor. And so what they want to see is your ability in case taking, your analytic and repertorial skills, your knowledge of materia medica, and your case management ability. They want evidence that you meet the standards that they set. You have to send in a CV and written description of your practice and your style of practice, and 2 personal references and 2 professional references. And then there is an application fee for that. Which is $300. And for all of us who are here, Ontario, who went through CHO, the College of Homeopaths of Ontario, we know that that's bargain level price by comparison. All right, now the second one is CCH and NASH case review. So I think you all know now when I say CCH, it's the CHEs is the ones that confer what's the word for it? Myra, what's the word I'm looking for? They confer, they give you the certification. That's it.
Yeah.
So if you are CCH, that's not quite good enough. You need to do a little bit more. You need to submit 5 independent cases along with proof of membership in CHC. And so because the CHC offers verification of competency in homeopathy, but they are not a license to practice. All right. But then you have the easiest way, which is a transfer of professional membership. And I'm going to go into detail with that. So the one that a lot of us here who are from Ontario, and you don't even have to be in Ontario to become a member of the College of Homeopaths of Ontario. If you are a member of CHO and you can show that you have some courses in, like I was very lucky because I'm a psychologist, but you have, I don't know what the flexibility there is, but you have to show some level of training at the college level. You submit your all of that to NASH, and I will tell you how fast it is. I mean, the day that I sent in my application to NASH, I sent it in at 10, 11 in the morning, and I think it was 3 o'clock. Like, I can't even remember. It was that afternoon I was accepted as a member. That's how fast it is. If you satisfy the criteria, you're in, because you've already done all of the proving of your competency through your CHO application. So that was a really lovely, easy thing for me and for all of you if you're already a member. Now, remember that the designation for NASH is the RS-Hom, Registered Society Homeopaths, and then there'll be NA after it for North America. If you're from England, it's UK. So if you already have an RS-Hom designation from the Society of Homeopaths in the UK, the Alliance of Registered Homeopaths in the UK, the Irish Society of Homeopaths, or the New Zealand Council for Homeopathy, again, you're in very quickly. And also any state council of homeopathy in India is considered a high enough bar to get straight into NASH. Now, if you have the CHC, that's pretty close. I have 4 chronic cases because I had some old information, but I just told you you need to have 5 long-term cases that you need to submit.
For the State Council of India, they also need cases.
They also need cases as well. Okay, I don't have that in my notes. I have some very old notes, so okay. I'm really grateful for Myra to set me straight. So now let's get into the nitty gritty, because we're going to spend most of the time. Oh, we got a cat. Okay, we're going to spend most of the time tonight talking about different benefits. So listen closely, and if you have any questions, please let me know. So this is not necessarily a benefit. This is something that you have to abide by. But in my opinion, it's a benefit, because whenever you have boundaries, whenever when you're working on your own, you really don't know what's allowed, what's not allowed. If you have an organization that takes care of that for you and says, we've thought about it, we've had, countless board meetings about it, we've taken, weeks and months to come up with this, that they've really put a lot of thought into a code of ethics and standards of practice. And then you have a nice little fence around what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. And then when sometimes a patient might ask you to do something, and then you could say, sorry, I can't do it because my code of ethics or my standards of practice prevents me from doing so. And one of the most obvious examples with COVID-19 right now is talking about vaccines. And probably a lot of you who are from Canada got a letter, as I did this week, from the University of Waterloo asking, my opinion on vaccination. And we know it's outside your scope of practice. And here's a $125 Amazon gift card, right? But because I was able to look at my standards of practice at NASH, I was able to look at them at CHO as well. I knew where I stood and I felt very, very comfortable. So there's a level of comfort of knowing what you can and can't do. And I think that's a very big benefit of NASH, okay? Now there's a professional online registry. So that means that you're able to put your name up there, the name of your practice. I don't think in Ontario, we don't do focus. We're not allowed to do specialization, but you could put your website up there and you could put your how to be reached and all that. So it's you don't just list your, it's not just for listing your practice, but it's available online. So future patients who come and look for you, they can put in your city and they can find you. And it's also helpful to find colleagues and for a referral service. So that's a very nice benefit. Now there's professional liability insurance, and it's not just that it's available through the NASH, through NASH, but also that there's actually a discount. And I can tell you exactly what you get, because just by some stroke of luck, the carrier that they use is the same one that I happen to be using for a couple of years. And so when I reapplied this year, I actually got about $50 off of my insurance this year. So that was a nice saving and an unexpected one. Now there's something called a legal defense fund, and that's to help offset costs for registered members should a dispute arise. And I really, really like this one because, and to me, almost this is worth the price of admission, because to go into litigation, if somebody wants to sue you, whether it's another doctor or whether it's a patient or whatever, and we're there for you. NASH is there for you. We have the money we have a grievance procedure, which I'll talk to you as one of our benefits. And we could probably save you a hell of a lot of money, right? If we can try to help you get over the grievance before it goes to hiring lawyers. So just having any kind of a fund, anytime you're part of an organization and they've put together a treasure chest of money that's available should we deem it correct and should you need it, that is just like a kind of insurance and a peace of mind that I don't know that of any other organization that offers that. And then there's Legal Shield, which is it's a law service, which is kind of like an umbrella, and there's you can go to them for all sorts of different things, and NASH offers that at a discounted rate. Then there's advocacy. So, and NASH represents their members, serving as your voice to promote and protect the profession whenever and whenever it's needed. So to the public, to the media, to the medical community and government. So that's very important too, because let's say something like, it's funny because I've been writing letters to Dr. Bogoch here in Ontario, and I've been writing it to Doug Ford, who's our premier in Ontario. And I just don't feel like I have an organization. CHO is not doing that for us, as far as I know. And I love the fact that NASH actually, they're constantly aware of what's going on in the world. And if there's a position that homeopathy needs to take on behalf of its membership, it will do that advocacy on your behalf. And if you want to volunteer and be part of that and help draft the letter and get the opinion out there, you have opportunities to do that. The grievance procedure I talked to you about, so it helps to mediate conflicts, whether between you and your patient or with another healthcare worker. And here's a lending library. So NASH has been around for a long time, and they have a big library of conference seminars. And I particularly like this one because we can't really always afford to go to these conferences. And when I was sitting down thinking, how much does it cost me to go to JHC? And it's probably like $2,000. So you have an opportunity at your leisure, as many times as you want, whenever you want, to actually come and listen to some of the, a good, I don't know how much, but a good fraction of these seminars are available for you to listen to for free as part of your membership.
We
Now,
also
webinar.
have books. If anybody.
Oh, there's books too? I wasn't able to find that. Yeah.
Yeah, we have books if anyone still reads them. We have a big lending library.
Like physical books or like
Yeah, physical books. Yeah, we'll ship them to you and pay for postage for return.
Oh my God, I need to add that to my talk here. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. That's really, really nice. And I bet you have a few obscure ones that would be really interesting to find.
Yeah, somewhere there's a list.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll get that out for everybody because that's amazing. Now we have these webinars. Mine's an example of one. So they're private. They're for members only. You can attend for free. And what's also great is that you can present. And if you haven't had an opportunity to give a webinar, I mean, it's not that easy to put out a webinar. You can't just like put out a webinar, but we provide the entire infrastructure for you. If you have a good idea, come to us and you get an opportunity to learn how to, put the slides together and how to organize your thoughts and, get your name out there. There's a little bit of notoriety from being online, I've found. And it's an opportunity for you to start growing your career. So I think that's a wonderful perk. There is a monthly newsletter, so it keeps you up to date with everything that's going on at NASH. And then there's the NASH Foundation, which is a lovely non-profit charitable corporation dedicated to supporting education, research, and publications to enhance the profession. So that's another way in which NASH seeks to take care of us by nurturing our curiosity, our interest in research and this and that. If you come up with a proposal that the foundation feels is worthwhile, you might actually get some funding for it. Then there's the mentorship program, which is a way for you to give back. I'm going to have volunteer opportunities. So they kind of go together. So it provides opportunities for associate and student members to benefit from the expertise of experienced homeopaths, pass your knowledge forward to support future homeopaths. If you're someone like me, who was, I think, in many ways born to want to teach, I can't help myself, which is probably incredibly annoying to a lot of people, but it's just who I am. But I'm not allowed to teach for about, I think in Ontario, I think they've set it at 5 years or something. So, I get it out. My lacuses need to talk. So I get it out by doing these webinars, and NASH gives me an opportunity to give webinars. So by the time I'm ready to start teaching, it won't be new to me. I'll have had lots of webinars under my belt. Volunteer, so you can use your individual talents. So if webinars isn't your things, believe me, we're all volunteers on this board. Nobody's making tons of money. We could use the volunteers. If something interests you, you're more than welcome to join us. Give back to the community. We have promotional guidelines. So again, this is within the aegis of like having boundaries, not knowing what to do. So we have guidelines on how to safely market your practice, how to talk to the media. That could be, for example, exactly with this letter that we got from Waterloo. I can speak with people at NASH, or I could look at the guidelines. How much should I divulge? How much should I talk? How much should I not? So it's very, very comforting to know that I have some sort of guidelines to know not to go too far. Now we'll get into some of our discounts. Now for new, if you have never been a registered member, new registered members have an opportunity. Sometimes you want to join the NCH, the National Center for Homeopathy as well, especially if you want to go to the annual conference. I think it's cheaper, right, for members. So it's normally $170 a year and they're offering 50% off. So you can actually get a whole membership for $85 for the year, and you'll save more than that on the conference. So that's entirely worth it. And then there's something called Compass software. This is from Miranda Castro. I don't know if any of you guys know it, but it's a paperless office software for organizing your homeopathic practice. And it just kind of like has everything. It's all there for you, and it's normally $495. And I'll show you at the end what the discount is. Every time I give you dollar amounts, by the way, it's US. So we all know it's about 30-35% more. Full slate online scheduling program. So everything you need to manage a busy schedule. So patients can make their own appointments and they can see what's available, and they can get you get all the information you need with a custom booking, so you can set the parameters. So I want to have, I need this, this, and this information. You can set that up. I like to have I send all my patients a form ahead of time, so you can set it up through that. Everything's done for you online. You don't have to do, it just takes so much time. Every single time you get a new patient, I have to send this, this, and this. It's all taken care of for you. And there's a 10% discount on that. There are 2 different pharmaceutical companies that offer discounts as well. We were just talking today about the unfortunate nomenclature of the word badge, but I guess we're not liking it. But it is, just like you can see over here you can see where my cursor is, where NASH is. It looks a little something like that. This is something that you can put on your website. So it lets people know that you're a full member, you're a registered member of NASH. Only the registered members get this. So this lends legitimacy to your credentials on your web page.
The school members will be getting one soon.
Who's that?
The school members, the school websites can have that.
That's a great idea.
It's actually called a web badge, but since our talk, I've been Googling around. It also can be called a web button. So. But it's your RSH home. That's your badge, right?
Yeah, we'll get there. Don't steal my thunder here. Now, this is an interesting one that I didn't know until I researched this. There's representation in the International Council for Homeopathy. So NASH is the only North American affiliated organization on this council, which exists to encourage the highest standards of the professional practice of homeopathy throughout the world. And I just like the fact that that I'm part of an organization that finds value in that. Okay, it's a worldwide association. It encourages highest standards of professional practice. It shows the integrity of the organization and the desire to maintain the integrity of its practitioners and members. There's a private discussion forum that we have a LinkedIn forum where our professional members can support each other's clinical practice, ask questions, etc., and just refer people to each other if they want or connect through there. And of course, as a registered member, you have full voting rights, so you can vote in society elections and other decisions. We just added a new vice president. You would have had the opportunity to have a voice in that. And for me, as the academic, for me, the second best for last, which is the American Homeopath. This is an absolutely beautiful journal. It was, I don't know of any other organization that has a journal, and certainly not one of this caliber. It was started in 1994, so just 4 years after NASH was developed. So they really found a need right away. They recognized the importance, my coming from academia, the need to be published, the need to encourage that kind of critical thought. Is something that NASH valued right from the get-go. And just 4 years in, with all the fights that we're doing to get legitimacy, they managed to put out their first journal, which had Constantine Herring on the cover. And Roger Morrison, I'm going to quote what he says about the American Homeopath. He says it's we all know Roger Morrison, right, from Desktop Guide and all that. And he's married to Nancy Herrick. One of the most important journals, and not the most important journal in the field of classical homeopathy. It is rare to find a journal where every article is worth reading. And it's a scholarly collection of articles. It's got interviews, it's got case studies, it's got materia medica, it's got provings and more. And it's only once a year. So sometimes I find journals to be quite onerous, like if you get it every week or if you get it every month, and like, do I have time to read it? But this is really leisurely, read it when you want. There's enough like for one article a month or whatever. And they're all so interesting. And it's kind of like, sometimes I'll go, well, you know what? I really feel like testing myself. I'm going to do a case study today, or I really want to learn more about this remedy. And, sometimes we'll do something very classical and polycrestish. And sometimes more often they'll do actually more recently discovered remedies. So you really get a nice taste of a big smorgasbord of topics in the journal. Now, another thing about it is that you can actually, we talked about the value of becoming a webinar provider, but now you have an opportunity to provide articles as well. And I don't know if your school did this, but my school had us pretend we were submitting a case into a journal. So we learned how, yeah, I see Mehdi, you're nodding. So, and we also had to do a, our business plan, which was really, really, anytime your school makes you do something that you'll have to do as a professional, it's really preparing you. So this is, if your school did not do that for you, NASH gives you that opportunity to submit articles, and it could be anything that you want. And again, here's another thing under the aegis of that protective boundary. Well, I have no idea, Robin, how to write an article. I don't know what I'm supposed to include and not to include. Well, guess what? NASH provides you with these fabulous, fabulous guidelines. It's quite long. I think Deb Hayes, our outgoing editor-in-chief, put them together, and we'll give you the complete organization and structure and what you need to do, what you not need to do, so that you're not giving something in and then getting embarrassed that it's, sent back with all these red lines through it. You'll actually prevent something that's almost publishable right away because we have these guidelines for you. And another great thing is that there is see the gorgeous cover art, that's actually a contest for our membership. So you can provide your photographs or a painting or a drawing, anything you want, and you can be entered into the contest, and somebody wins every single year. And that, can you imagine something that you've done is on the cover of the Once a Year American? I mean, in my school, we have them. I can't believe I'm getting goosebumps. It's so exciting. I think it's so cool. Like in my school, I know they have like a whole row of American Homeopaths. Like these are things that are cherished, that they put together as part of their library. It's a really, really wonderful journal. I look forward to it every single year. And I've actually published it, and I published in it as a student. So you can publish as a student. They'll take it if it's good enough.
We have a subscription just for schools, and we also have a program where we'll donate a full set of what's left of the printed versions to different schools. So keep that in mind.
Only if you're a school member, however, right?
No, we've sent them. No, we've sent them to a number on the website. It lists all the places we've donated the journals to.
Fabulous.
And there's only 19 full sets left of, the very early ones.
So another reason that I'm learning to like NASH, because like that generosity of spirit, I think is very, very, that's very kind for them to do that. You don't even have to be a school member. The idea is to make good homeopaths, to spread the love, spread the learning, so I'm really proud of you guys for doing that. That's great. All right, so here's what Myra was referring to. And this is the thing, remember, I was talking to the executive director, Carlene, about at JHC. This is something that I thought would be, what would appeal to a lot of Canadians who are not members of CHO, for example, and that is the RS Hum North America designation, okay? Now, another name for having a designation is called occupational title protection. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I became aware in my, researching this talk of an attempt by British Columbia to become regulated for their members, okay? So except for Ontario, homeopaths in Canada are not regulated by their respective provincial governments. All right. And the occupational title. So we can't be MD, we can't be ND, we can't be PhD, we can't be, we can't be anything that is a recognizable, if you're not part of an organization, there's really just the letters of your school, which really don't have a lot of meaning to a lot of people. So occupational title protection, which is getting a regulated name, a registered name, offers an alternative to regulation, and it allows for a professional title designation, in this case the RS Hum, so that the public and also your colleagues can distinguish title holders as qualified professional homeopaths. So when you see the RS Hum, whether it's NA or UK, it lets you know that this is an internationally recognized designation. So that's something that I like about it as well. So as soon as you see it, you know that you're part of this group of homeopaths around the world who have satisfied the criteria of becoming RS Hums. Okay, it's an internationally respected designation. It acknowledges the independent professional practice of homeopathy and the profession in North America, and the one in UK is the same thing. So the designation assures that you uphold the highest standards of excellence in classical homeopathic practice. So somebody who puts an MD after their name, everybody knows they went to medical school, they passed the exam, et cetera, et cetera. This is something that, Myra, did you want to say something?
No, I was just reading the questions.
Sure. So this is something that lets the world know that you have satisfied the strict criteria of high professional capability. Okay, you can't get into the club without qualifying for it. That's what this says. Now, registered members have to reside in the US or Canada for at least 6 months of the year. So any of you are snowbirds or Europe birds or whatever, just for you to know that. So what happened is in 2013, I have some notes from 2013 in British Columbia, the Ministry of Health, they wanted to get regulated, just like we have here in Ontario for the last few years. They tried as well with the Ministry of Health. But the ministry did not consider the practice of homeopathy to pose sufficient risk to the public to need regulation under the Health Professions Act. Isn't that, all the time they're taking our medicines off the shelf because they're, they've got, oh my God, you've got lycinum, you're giving people poison or, but in this case, they said homeopathy doesn't pose sufficient risk. So they weren't able to get regulated in BC. So they spoke to a lawyer and the lawyer said, why don't you apply for this title protection, okay? And that is granted by the Ministry of Finance under the Society Act. So it acts as an alternative. If you can't get regulation by your province, right now, we're the only one in Ontario. And trust me, it is a difficult multi-year process. So title protection, getting that kind of a designation is your next best step, okay? But to get title protection is not easy either. So what did they have to do in BC? Well, they told them you have to do this really detailed application form that was going to take months to fill out. You have to have a complete code of ethics. You have to have a standards of practice document. You have to have a disciplinary action document. You have to have exam requirements. So there's tons of work, tons of infrastructure just to set up to qualify and not necessarily receive title protection. Okay, so with NASH, you just send in your application, it's done. We've had it for 30 years, it's done. You can instantly qualify for the RS Hum with a successful application. And as I said, mine was given within hours of applying for it. So I've done a lot of research of all the different associations throughout Canada. And from what I've seen, and any of you guys here are from any of those associations, and if I either speak out of turn because what's online is out of date, or I just speak out of turn because I just misunderstood something, please correct me. So from my research, Alberta, British Columbia, Manitoba, the Ontario Homeopathic Medical Association, and Quebec do not have title protection. There are some that do have some designations, but all of these do not. Now, BC stipulates that members have one of the CHC, RS Hum, or CHO. Okay, they stipulate that in their requirements to become a member of the BC Society. But of the 60 members that are listed on their website, only 6 list themselves as RS Hum and 10 are CCH. So that means that 44 members that are listed there are either not CHC or RS Hum or CHO, their listing is out of date and they haven't updated it, or they've chosen not to show it. So I don't exactly know if that's a stipulation for getting in, how they got in if they don't have it. So this is something that if it's missing, or maybe they were grandfathered in, maybe this was something that was decided, years after they became members in BC and they don't need it anymore. But certainly for future members, if this is going to be a strict requirement, this is something that NASH can offer them right off the bat. Now, Manitoba does not require any of the above designations. You could just become a member. The Maritime Society, which covers 3 different provinces, they provide something called the RMSH, but they require members to be RS Hum NAs, okay? Or British Society of Homeopath members, or something comparable. But of all the members that are listed on there, not a single one of them lists any of these designations. So once again, NASH is here to fill the void and help you satisfy the criteria of membership in your provincial association. Quebec only requires a recognized education and no professional affiliation as well. Okay, but the 2 associations that do, besides this RMSH, which I think might be just a local thing, it's not internationally or globally recognized or even within the country. The College of Homeopaths of Ontario confers the HOM designation, HOM, which is open to people outside of Ontario as well. And the Canadian Society of Homeopaths, which is something I am going to talk about, and I'm sure a bunch of you are members of it, they confer the RSC HOM, and we will talk about it. Any important questions yet, Myra, that we can address?
Well, I think these might be for the end. They're about being parts of different organizations or going to school and whether they can qualify.
Okay, great. So we'll
I
talk
think
about that.
some of
We'll go
that-
through each one. We'll go through each qualification. Yeah, okay. So the next level of membership is the associate membership. Now, these are for people who are homeopaths. They're fully homeopath. They're not students. They're not friends of homeopathy. They are full they are full homeopaths, but they've chosen not to become full registered members. So as a result, they don't enjoy obviously the same benefits. It's the same thing when you buy a car, you know, I mean, you're all going to get a gas pedal. You're going to get the seats. Everybody's going to get certain basic things necessary, but you're not going to get the tinted windows, or you're not going to get the sunroof, you know, type of thing. So that's the equivalent here. You'll get a lot of benefits, but you won't get the same amount as the registered membership. And most importantly, you cannot use the designation. There's no RS Home NA. But as I said, the fees are lower. Just as a car with just the basics is going to cost less. Okay, but that being said, an associate membership will support your professional development among a network of experienced professionals. And I'm going to go through the benefits to see how you can, and I'll go through them faster because now we've been through them very slowly. So not to repeat myself over and over again. So this is what you get as an associate member, right? You get the code of ethics and the standards of practice that you must abide by in order to maintain your membership. You have the grievance procedure, which is really, really wonderful to have. You get the American Homeopath. Now, I will tell you this, no joke, the American Homeopath costs $50 American. Okay, it's only once a year. It's an expensive journal to produce. It's got very nice quality, and it costs $50. The membership to be an associate is $80. So really, you're getting the entire membership for $30 when you think about it that way, which is really quite an excellent price. You get the Legal Shield benefits. You get to be part of the NASH Foundation. The lending library is yours as well. The seminars and the books we've learned today. You can attend the webinars for free. You can be part of the mentorship program. You can do volunteer work as well. And you could be part of the private discussion forum. So I don't expect you to remember all of the benefits that you're not getting. So I made a little list here in my notes. So just to say it quickly, you can't be part of the online registry. So if that's something that's important to you, this may not be for you. You can't get the discount on the professional liability insurance. You can't be part of the legal defense fund. There's no discount for National Center of Homeopathy, which may or may not mean anything if you didn't want to become a member anyhow. There's no Compass software discount. All of the discounts I talked about, Full Slate, the Pharma and all that, that's all gone. You can't put the badge on your website. You don't have a right to it, and you don't have voting rights as well. But you do have all these other things. And if you're, feeling as I don't want to, jump full hog into NASH. I just want to get my toes wet. I want to see what it's like to, be part of the webinars and to maybe volunteer some of my time or be part of the mentorship program. And I want to get that journal every year. This is a really, really good choice for you. Okay, now we'll go on to student membership. We see Dr. Hahnemann there on the left, and on the right, that is actually for all of you people who went to CCHM. This will be a very familiar room to you, the chapel in the room where we have studies downtown. That's my graduating class. So what are some of the benefits of being a student member? Well, obviously you benefit from the NASH Foundation, and the biggest benefit from that one is going to be the scholarship fund, which I'll get to at the end. Again, you're bound by the standard of practice and code of ethics. We provide you promotional guidelines, which is so important when you're a student, because if you're like my school, you had to find patients on your own. And you have, they basically throw you out and just say, okay, when you come back, we need you to have, at CCHM, it was 5 students by the end of December, you have to have 5 patients done, and, 7, 8 patients in the second year. And no guidelines. How do I get a patient? I don't know what to do. So NASH can provide that for you. You can be part of the grievance procedure. Now, this is a really nice one that you haven't seen before, the private member only Facebook student page. So this is a private club. You have to become a member in order to gain access to it. And it's really an opportunity to start early in your career, to start meeting fellow students, to start creating a network of current and future help, to start creating study groups together. You can post and read interesting articles on the website. You can make new connections and friends. You can learn about upcoming webinars. You can post like all the time for all of you guys who are on Facebook or who are members of, you know, my Facebook page, Harmonious Homeopathy. I'm constantly putting up future webinars so that you have an opportunity to register. So, gee, I didn't know that was coming up. And then you have a whole group of friends who are doing that for you. You could talk about cases. So that's incredible. You're having difficulty with this, or can you help me find a rubric? My patient has this, you know, a symptom and I have no idea how to look it up. Which section should I be looking up? And what is a good, what is the old way of saying this word? You know, what does stranguri mean? You know, so it's a fabulous opportunity, the Facebook page. You get the American Homeopath. If you think it was good for an associate, it's even better for in terms of value, because the American Homeopath, as I said, is worth $50. Student membership is $55. So essentially you're a student for $5, which is pretty fantastic. You are obviously part of the mentorship program, and that's an opportunity for people within NASH to mentor you. If your school doesn't, or wherever you're studying doesn't provide ample supervision, if you simply want to get a second opinion, right? Some schools don't let you switch your supervisors from year to year, or sometimes you just feel like you got stuck with one that was not helping you the way that you needed. You have another opportunity through NASH to find not supervision, but mentorship. And then there's obviously lots of volunteer opportunities, which is something I really always recommend for people to start doing right from the get-go. You know, get involved with your profession, get involved with your organization, and it really sets you up that once you've organized, you're already established within the organization, and you can really now become a contributory member as a professional homeopath. Again, the lending library, obviously that would be of tremendous interest to a student. Webinars, and not only can they attend the live NASH webinars, and remember I said that you as professionals can provide webinars. Well, guess what? We also let our students give the webinars. Now, what an opportunity. As I said, you can't just conjure a webinar in thin air. You don't have the infrastructure. You don't have everything set up. Well, NASH provides that for you. If you want to give a webinar that we deem to be of a quality that, you know, that would be worthwhile to people, you have an opportunity as a student to give your first, possibly your first webinar, and more beyond that. So I think that's a wonderful, you know, an opportunity to learn how to conceptualize a webinar, to organize it, to create the slides, how to present material to a collegial audience. You know, it's obviously everybody's there rooting for you. So it's an opportunity to get your feet wet, learn how to start teaching this, because everybody who's a homeopath ultimately is also a teacher. The professional liability insurance, now that's not given directly to the student. So it's available to registered members, and it's also available to student members. So NASH, so it's a bit of a cascading thing. If you're a member of a NASH member school, which I'll talk about next, and within that you have faculty who are also NASH members, that NASH member can get our liability insurance, which can help cover the students. Now, some schools already have that, so they may not need it, or they are looking for a new program to do it through. They can do it through NASH. They're available to get the legal shield as well. And then there are the scholarship opportunities. And as I said early on in this talk, that was one of the reasons I joined NASH in the beginning, is that as a member of NASH and being in a school who's a member of NASH, they gave greater weight to people like me in order to win the scholarship. So this is the one that I won. It's called the Elizabeth Bonfix Scholarship, and and all of the scholarships are basically dedicated to this. So I'm going to give you two other names, but they're all the same. Annual scholarship awarded to homeopathic students who demonstrate passion, service, and commitment to the profession of homeopathy. And I don't know that it's changed, but at the time I had to write two very substantial essays outlining my past and my present and my future, and what, you know, how I plan to contribute. And I also had to get letters of recommendation, professional and non-professional. And so it was really an opportunity to learn how to, you know, just to network with all of the people around me, how to, and I really sat down and had to think about where do I want to go as a homeopath? What is my path and how do I plan to get there? So you know, yes, it's nice to win the money, but it also really helps to organize yourself for your future career. They give, the plan is to give 2 a year. Each one is worth US 1,000. So we're talking over $1,300 Canadian, and it's sent to the person's school. So it goes towards their tuition every year. And these are the names of the other 2 scholarships. Okay, our second to last type of membership is a school membership, and those are some of the schools that are available in Canada. And it's offered to homeopathic schools whose programs ready students to become professional homeopaths. So that's pretty obvious. Now, does anybody recognize the building? The Allentown, one of the original American schools. So in order to qualify as in case any of you here are faculty or administration at a homeopathic school, or you went to one and this is something you want to bring back to your school that they may be of interest to them. So they have to provide a minimum of 500 hours of training in philosophy, materia medica, repertory, and obviously clinical work. Most of the schools easily surpass that amount. Faculty should include registered members of NASH. Now, what are some of the benefits of being a school member? Well, you get to be in your own directory. There's a homeopathic school directory that is available. And so you can be found. If people around the world want to study in a certain area and they don't know how to find the school, it's not available to them, they can actually come to the registry and find you. Okay, as I said before about the professional liability insurance, so via a faculty member who's an RS Hom and takes our insurance, they can get insurance as well. The annual journal, the American Homeopaths, I said in my school's library, we have practically every year of it. So that will be available to the students to peruse at their leisure. There's also the Legal Shield discounted rate, the monthly NASH newsletter and announcements. And then here's something we haven't talked about yet. This is participation of student reps, or another name for reps is liaison. So they get in meeting of the NASH student liaison program. So this is something that is unique to NASH. And let's talk a little bit about that. So the mission of the student liaison program is to create a bridge between NASH and students of homeopathy. And the goal is to involve these student liaisons from the school member homeopathic schools to dialogue with NASH and among themselves about homeopathic issue of interest to them. So in a way, NASH is mentoring these students who have been selected by the school to represent the school as student liaison. So right now, what we have is that one student is appointed by the school to participate, but my understanding is that the guidelines for this are being updated and schools will soon be able to choose how many students they want to become liaisons. Now, the student who gets chosen by the school, and there's all sorts of reasons to choose whatever student. It could be someone who is recognized as a leader of tomorrow and let's get them started right on track with NASH, okay? It could be somebody now because whoever becomes the student liaison member gets an automatic free NASH membership. It could be somebody in the school who has shown financial need, and this would be a great benefit to them to not have to spend the money to become a NASH member. So there's all sorts of different reasons why you might want to choose your student liaison. So that person gets to be all the benefits of a NASH student member, including the American Homeopaths. So not only does the school get one, but the student gets one as well. Okay, and online schools, if any of you are from online schools and distance learning, they have the opportunity to request additional liaisons. But as I said, we're rethinking the number of liaisons. So it's going to be more than one in the future. Now, I don't know, Myra, you might know this, but in my notes, I have student liaisons are to be at a point in their studies to allow participation for more than 1 year. Is that still holding true? Do you know?
We would prefer that.
Okay.
And we just changed, it used to be one student rep per school, but we changed it so that the school can decide how many student reps.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Again, even though the student liaison is not under the aegis of student membership that I showed you a couple of slide sets ago, they still have the opportunity to present webinars themselves. So they're entitled to do them just like a regular student member would. And as I said, it provides a really great training experience for them. Student liaisons also have responsibilities to their school and to NASH. So if you get chosen, and because you're not paying your membership and also you're chosen for a very special reason, you do have to do, and I think right now it's just on the honor system, but there's a little bit of work involved, let's put it that way, but it's still, but I wouldn't call it work. I see it as an opportunity to learn how to do things to help become a professional homeopath. All right, the last kind of membership that we're going to talk about is a provincial membership. And so that's a lot of you out there. The one I've mentioned, a whole, but the BC Society and the Maritime and this and that, those are considered provincial associations. And they have to have at least 7 members in order to qualify for a provincial membership. And what's interesting about that, so this is another opportunity for you to save. Let's say you've decided, I really am not interested in a registered membership. I don't want the letters after my name, or it costs too much money, or for whatever reason, okay? But I'm kind of interested in this associate membership, which is about $80 a year. Well, guess what? If your provincial association wants to become a provincial member, the members in there can get a NASH associate membership for half price, for $40. So there's one reason for your association, your provincial association, to become a NASH member, to pass on the savings to their members. So the benefits are access to the members only sections of the website, you get an American Homeopath as well. So that's included, and that's shareable. It's going to be sent to one person. For access to the members only section, so the way that would work is there would be one access code that would be available to the organization to share among the members. There would be the monthly NASH newsletters, again sent to the liaison, and that would be sent to the members as well. And access to the NASH lending library of recorded conference seminars, I guess books too, but because I only knew about the seminars, that's all I could read about. So there's lots of, there's just so many different ways to join NASH. It doesn't have to just be this one, massive registered membership. There's lots of different ways to get involved. Oh, I think I might have clicked something. Okay. Oh, there's more. Woo! Promotional materials and downloads. So how to promote your business, you get access to that. Information on legal and marketing issues. Access to experienced mentorship, so that's available as well to your membership, and increased networking opportunities, of course, anytime you're a member of organization. So I've mentioned most of the fees. The registered membership is $250 a year. Associate membership is $80, student $55, school is $150. So I see some eyes going up. Provincial is $40, and just know, so there's no surprises. If you are interested in becoming a registered or a school member, there's an additional $40 application fee at the beginning. And here's more detail about the discounts that are available to you. So as I said to you, the National Center of Homeopathy, it's worth $85 if you're planning to go to the, again, going to be online this year. If you want to register for JHC, that could probably pay for itself right there. Compass, this is very, very generous from Miranda, that organizing software. It's normally $495. She's offering $166 off of that. So right there, if you just if you want to take advantage of those 2 discounts, it's already paid for your membership completely. And you get the American Homeopath. Full slate is $10, 10% off. That's the online appointments and stuff like that. The way that works is that there's different levels of membership. If you want to just do it for yourself, it's $2.99 a month. If you have up to 5 people you're sharing it with, it's $3.99 and $7.99, stuff like that. So it's anywhere from $3 to $8 a month, depending on how many you purchase. Washington Pharma will give you 20% off, and OHM will give you 25% off your first $75 purchase. Okay, so I'm going to talk about one last thing before, putting a bookend to my talk, and that's just to discuss the Canadian Society of Homeopaths, because they are a very, very similar organization to NASH. And I'm going to, let me preface it by saying this, in the beginning, when I originally wrote it without thinking, I wrote NASH versus CSH. I want everyone to understand that this is not meant to be, they're better than us or we're better than them. It's not. I'm simply going to be stating to you the things that they offer and the things that we offer. And then it's up to you to decide, okay, well, the things that NASH, they offer more a smorgasbord of stuff that interests me. Maybe that's the one I should join. Or you could look at CSH and go, what they're offering, they don't offer everything that NASH does, because you'll see that NASH offers more, but it's sufficient for me. So I just want, I don't want to turn this into a competition. We both exist out there. We both confer some very excellent benefits, including designation, but just for you to make an informed decision so that I've done the work for you, I've done the comparisons for you. So the Canadian Society of Homeopaths was established in 2006. So they're about half the age of NASH. We're a little over 30 years. They're celebrating their 15th year. And in quotes, this is what they have on their website. They're a national association for Canadian practitioners and supporters of homeopathy, a national professional association and registering body that is entirely dependent of any particular school. We provide a much needed unified body. Sound familiar? This is exactly like NASH, to speak for all Canadian practitioners and supporters of homeopathy and to furthering their understanding about its potential in their own health and that of their families and pets. I like that they add the pets. So for those of you who are CSH members, maybe you can share with me your experience for times that CSH has stood up for you, has advocated for you, and has that been helpful for you? So their mission statement is to provide a strong, united voice for the advancement, protection, and availability of homeopathy as a distinct system of medicine, same as NASH, to represent and support homeopaths who comply with high professional standards, same as NASH, and to encourage and promote public awareness and understanding of homeopathy across Canada. So you can see right away in the mission statement, very, very similar. I'm sorry I put this all on one page, so I hope that you can see it. Go close to your screen if it's gotten too small. But these are all the different benefits as far as I could tell. Now, as I said, I went strictly from the website. I haven't spoken to anybody. Everything that I could, my like fine tooth comb that I could find was a benefit, I put down here. And then I said, how do the two associations fare in terms of that benefit? So you can see right from the here, I'll use my right here. You can see one of the biggest benefits that I said about joining NASH is that designation. And you can see that both organizations provide that designation. They both have a handy dandy certificate of registration. If you remember one of my slides, I actually had a picture of a diploma. That was my certificate from NASH. So that's a very nice thing to put on your wall. They both offer associate memberships, student, or what some are called a supporting membership. Now, only NASH provides a school membership. So if you represent a school and you want to have a kind of a school membership, only NASH will provide that for you. And only NASH will provide a provincial membership as well. CSH does, however, provide, and this is something, Myra, I don't know if you guys have ever talked about having a Friends of Homeopathy membership. Was that something that NASH ever thought about doing?
No, but you can talk about it at the next meeting.
Yeah, so they're giving me some good ideas of things for us to bring to NASH. So some of the stuff that's on here, honest to God, I am going to bring to NASH because I would like to give it to our entire membership. So I really like that idea that you don't actually have to, there's so many people who absolutely love homeopathy, but they don't want to go to school or can't go to school or whatever. And but they just want to, be on the fringes. They want to be involved. So they offer that kind of membership. And I think that's kind of sweet on CSH's part. And it's not the first time I've seen it. And this is something that's available in BC only. It's called an affiliate provincial membership, which is kind of a 2-for-1. So if you're a member of CSH and you're a member of the BC Society, you get both memberships for the price of one. All right. Only NASH provides that journal that I was talking to you about. So if you find that something to be useful to you, that's something that NASH provides. Both, of course, have a code of ethics and a standards of practice that would be something absolutely, fundamental for any organization such as ours to provide. And they both provide a discount for professional liability insurance. One thing that CSH also provides is health, home, auto, and dental insurance, which is something I'll bring up to the board at NASH as well. Once we're dealing with insurance companies, I can't see why we maybe would not want to bring that in as well. But the United States is a much bigger country than ours, so there might be some difficulties there. And there's something that CSH provides as well, which is attempting to get insurance companies to cover your patient's appointment costs, so a percentage of it. Both have a legal defense fund, a legal shield discount, professional online registry, advocacy, of course, and I'm sorry, I repeated advocacy. So once we get into this side, though, there's a lot more stuff that NASH is offering. they both have a newsletter. Now we have that lending library, which I personally learned today also includes books that they'll send to us, which is really great. And that whole history of seminars from conferences that you didn't attend in the past or did attend and want to listen to again, that to me is an incredible learning opportunity. I mean, you just have like an entire smorgasbord of classes available to you to watch anytime you want. Both offer this private discussion forum. Sorry about that, I clicked on it. Private discussion forum. In CSH, they call it coffee hour, which is kind of sweet. So you sign up and you can come and talk about stuff that's of interest to you. Now, this is where NASH, I think, kind of separates itself a little bit with the heavy involvement with students, right? Because remember, CSH does not have student membership. So we have that student liaison program. We have the student Facebook page. Both have some free webinars. And then here again, the Foundation for Education Funding. So that's available not only to students, but to members as well who might have an interesting research project they want to do, or they want to maybe do an interesting article and they need some funding to get that together. They can apply for that. All these scholarship opportunities, that's something that only NASH offers, the mentorship program, volunteer opportunity. Now, volunteer opportunities might very well exist with CSH. And I looked for it and I looked for the word and I looked for synonyms for the word. I couldn't find it anywhere on the website, but I can't imagine that an organization would not have opportunities for people to volunteer. So I couldn't put it in because I couldn't find it, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. We have promotional guidelines and that we've talked about several times that the other one does not have, to give you a little bit of help in how to promote your practice and also how to respond to the media. And then there's downloads, which both have. Then we have discounts on some things that they don't have. We used to have some discounts for repertorial software as well. I wasn't able to ascertain at the time of this webinar whether that is continuing. We have an opportunity as well to talk to a couple of other companies that we haven't spoken to before. So that might be coming in the future where you can get a nice discount as a result of your membership with NASH. And I can almost, yeah, okay, I won't promise. And the NCH member discount, as I said, $85 is a very good saving if you wanted to go to JHC this year, for example, or if you just wanted to join NCH, they have a very nice magazine that comes out every month as well, that comes straight to your door. That's a nice reason to join. And of course, both have voting rights. So I've talked more than an hour and you've been very patient. I appreciate it. And so I've just kind of pilfered some of my slides from my video, and just to, kind of bookend, just to remind you, why should you join NASH? And, our goal is to provide a cohesive organization that gives its members a whole bunch of positives, professional unity, just a sense that you're part of something. You're not isolated. You're not alone in your office. We're all here together. We're in a difficult profession. We know how beautiful this profession is, but we have so much difficulty getting the world to appreciate us. And just to have colleagues that are there to have your back. I don't care what organization, join an organization, just feel that you're part of something. Hopefully you'll join NASH.
Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording and I'm going to invite people to unmute and ask questions if they haven't been addressed.
Perfect. So we provide strength